Welcome to the week 2 assignment. You are going to build a city block scene using the techniques and tools that we went over last week, the shape builder and the shape tools. When you open Adobe Illustrator, click New File. I'm going to do a 5-inch width by a 4-inch height, and make sure this is on inches here. And you can leave all the other default settings as they are. You click Create. Here we have a white artboard. And the first thing you're going to want to do is add a background color. By doing that, you go to your Shape tool, make sure to click Rectangle, and create a box covering the artboard. It automatically defaults to a white fill color and a black stroke. You can turn stroke on or off for this assignment. We're not going to go too in depth with strokes this week, but we will in the future. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to turn the stroke off. So if I click this little frame right here, you'll see it'll go over the fill color, which means that you're working with the stroke right now. If I want to change the fill color, if I click that, you'll see it'll go above the stroke. So let's go ahead and turn off the stroke by clicking it and going right down here to none. I'm going to go back up to the fill color and click it, and I'm going to slide this over for a background color. Additionally, this week I included a video on introducing you to the layers palette. Again, I'm not looking for perfection organization of your layers. We will focus more on that in a future assignment, probably next week in an exercise, I believe. But you can see that right now I am on layer 1, which is our background color. This is all I want on this layer. I'm going to double click layer 1 here and rename it background. Press return. There we go. For additional elements, please click right down here in your layers palette, create new layer. When I click it, you'll see a layer 2 automatically is set above the background, meaning that anything on this layer will cover elements on this layer. Let's double click layer 2 and call it buildings. All right, so with the buildings layer selected, highlighted, I'm going to go up to the rectangle tool. You can create a long rectangle here, and let's change that fill color. You can see that the stroke is still off, and it will remain off unless I decide to select it and put a color on it. But again, I'm going to just keep the stroke off. So with the fill color selected and your first building selected here, you want to change the fill color because you don't want it to just blend right into the background, because then you wouldn't be able to see it. So I'm gonna do maybe like this purpley blue here. All right. With the rectangle tool still selected, let's create some windows here. All right, there's a window. Again, it's the same color as the building, but we want to change the color. So with this new rectangle selected, let's use our sliders here to create a different color. All right. Now up to the selection tool, and you might remember from last week, with the selection tool, by holding down Option, I can drag an exact copy of the rectangle. There's a really easy way to create all the windows on here without doing them individually. So with the selection tool selected, if I select the one that's already selected and I hold down Shift and click the other one, it'll select both of them. From there, I can press Option, and you'll see the two arrows, and I can drag an exact copy of those two windows. And an even easier trick with these two still selected, if I do Command D, it's just going to repeat that action over and over. So there we have our first building. With the Create New Layer, let's make one for our monster. I'm going to do a monster. You can do whatever kind of creature or person or alien that you'd like. All right. So with our monster layer selected here, I'm going to go up to the shape tool and I'm going to do an ellipse. Again, holding down Shift, I can create a perfect circle. You might remember from last week. All right, let's change that fill color to whatever color you want. Let's create an oval with the ellipse tool. All right, with the selection tool selected, I'm going to move it over here. And let's do some ovals for feet as well. So click that ellipse tool. Let's do a foot there. Selection tool, option, drag for an exact copy. All right. Now, with all of the shapes on your monster layer selected, which you can do by clicking this far right box, it will select all the shapes you have on this layer at once. Let's go to our shape builder tool and let's just click right through all of these here. And now you have combined all of these ovals and circles into one shape. Let's go back up to the selection tool. I'm just going to move this monster right down here. And then from there, you can create facial features. Let's see. You can play with the star tool if you want. There we go. Let's give him some yellow eyes here. I'm gonna resize it a little bit. And I'm going to copy it, holding down Option. I'm just gonna move it over here, but I want to flip it vertically. So with this second one selected, you might remember from last week, you can go up to Object, Transform, Reflect, and it flipped it for me. Just press OK. This guy might need a mouth right here. I'm going to change the color of that as well. And then I'm going to, with it selected, copy it by pressing Option. I'm going to drag it up a little bit. And then with both of these selected, if you remember, we can also delete parts of this selection with the Shape Builder tool. Clicking the Shape Builder, and if I hold down Option, I can get rid of these two sections here, and it'll leave me with his smile. All right. So that's another element. If we go to the Layers palette at the bottom and create new layer, you can do one for your element of nature that is required for this assignment. Let's double click layer 4 and call it tree. All right, with this layer selected, I'm going to go back up to my shape tool here, hold down for the polygon, and I am going to do another triangle. I'm not going to resize it proportionally. I'm just going to drag the bottom here and drag the side and change the color to this kind of lime green with the selection tool. I'm going to move it down here. I'm going to go up to the rectangle tool and create the tree trunk. And I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to go to my shape builder tool and I'm going to drag right through and create our tree shape. So there we go. Please refer to last week's video as well when building your scene. Please watch the introduction to layers video in this week's content. Also, I included 3 videos in this week's content about the history of Adobe Illustrator, which is a fun and quick watch. I'm not expecting anything too fancy. I know a lot of this is brand new, and opening a program for the first time can be a little intimidating. Just have fun, explore, look up any other videos in your own time if you'd like. I would like you to hand in your city block as a .pdf. I'm going to open one that I created earlier here. So I have my 3 to 4 buildings, I have my elements of nature, I have my background color, and I have my character, all using the shape and shape building tools. Please go up to File, Save As. In Format right here, we're going to drop down to Adobe PDF. Save it as city block _ your last name. And you can keep all of this however the default is. For PDFs, I usually do uncheck Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities for a smaller file size, but that's up to you. Save PDF. It's gonna have this pop-up box here. If you do uncheck the Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities, just press OK, and then you're ready to hand that in. Thank you.